I'm constantly hearing people swear they saved a few bucks by grabbing a cheap pull-down screen from a discount store, only to end up wrestling with creases, a noisy crank, and a picture that looks like it's being projected onto a kitchen backsplash. The regret hits hard when you finally sit down for movie night and the screen itself becomes the star of the show for all the wrong reasons. So the question I keep hearing is, does a motorized screen like Elite Screen's Spectrum RC1 actually feel like a smarter buy, or is it just another gimmick that'll leave you reaching for the remote in frustration? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I first started researching home theater screens, the biggest hesitation I found in forums was the fear of committing to a 180-inch screen that never gets used because it looks too big for the room, or that the motor will be louder than the movie itself. A lot of people also worry about the installation mess, running wires, drilling into the wall, and making sure the screen sits perfectly flat. Those concerns are real, especially if you're trying to turn a spare bedroom or a modest living room into a cinema-like space without turning it into a construction zone. Let's break down what the Spectrum RC1 actually brings to the table and where it might fall short, so you can decide whether it belongs on your wall or if a simpler solution would be wiser. First off, the most obvious benefit is the motorized operation with a dedicated remote. You press a button and the screen glides up silently, which is a huge convenience if you've ever tried to line up a manual pull-down while juggling a popcorn bowl and a game controller. The motor is marketed as quiet and reliable, and in practice, the sound level is low enough that you won't notice it over the opening credits of a blockbuster. That quietness matters because a whirring motor can easily ruin the immersion you're trying to create. Installation is where the rubber meets the road. The package includes a mounting bracket, the screen material, and all the wiring you need for the motor. The instructions are fairly straightforward, but you'll still need a stud finder, a drill, and a bit of confidence in your ability to run the power cord to an outlet or a hidden power strip. If you're comfortable with a basic DIY project, the process usually takes an hour or two. For renters or anyone who's not keen on drilling holes, the permanent nature of the mount could be a deal breaker. You could always go for a freestanding frame, but that defeats the sleek, built-in look the motorized version promises. Now, let's talk size and aspect ratio. The 180-inch diagonal, 16:9, is a sweet spot for many home theater enthusiasts who want a true big screen experience without overwhelming a typical 12 by 16-foot room. The screen's gain is optimized for 4K and 8K projectors, meaning you'll get a bright, uniform image even if your projector isn't the most powerful on the market. In real-world use, the picture looks sharp and evenly lit, especially when you pair it with a projector that can throw a high lumen rating. However, the trade-off is that you need enough throw distance to fill that size. If you have a short throw projector and a limited wall distance, you might end up with a slightly dimmer image because the screen is larger than the projected image can comfortably cover. A practical strength that often gets overlooked is the screen material's durability. The Elite Screen's fabric is designed to resist wrinkles and to hold tension over time, so you won't wake up to a sagging screen after a few months of use. For families with kids or pets, that resilience is reassuring. The downside, though, is the price. At its current retail point, the Spectrum RC1 sits in the mid to high end of the market. If you're on a tight budget, you could find a manually operated screen for a fraction of the cost, but you'll lose the convenience factor and possibly the quiet motor. Who should definitely consider this screen? If you already own a 4K or 8K projector and you're aiming for a dedicated home theater room where you'll watch movies, sports, or play games regularly, the motorized screen adds a level of polish that matches the rest of a high-end setup. It's also a good fit for anyone who wants a push-button experience. Think of a living room that doubles as a theater on weekends. The remote makes it easy for guests to operate without needing to fumble with cords or a crank. Conversely, if your setup is more occasional, like you only watch a film or two a month, or you live in a small apartment where a 180-inch screen feels oversized, you might be better off with a manual pull-down or a fixed-frame screen. Those options can be considerably cheaper and still deliver a clean image, especially if you're willing to accept a little extra effort when you want to watch. Also, if you're a renter who can't drill into the wall or who's hesitant about